Hello everyone, good morning, and thank you for being here. And Tommaso, I think you did a good job with the names, except for Jordi. So that's how we do it. Yeah. All right. Well, yes, indeed. I mean, my name is Juan Ibañez. I'm the General Secretary of the MiCA Crypto Alliance. I'm also the co-chair of the non-financial applications of blockchain working group at Blockchain for Europe. So where we have been working on throughout the entire year on this topic. And yeah, I'm very excited about this panel. We're going to be talking about what we are using blockchain for, what kind of impact we're having, and indeed going away from the financial dimension. Very happy to be here with this panel. So I'm going to ask James, Jordi, and André to introduce yourselves briefly, and then let's start a conversation. Let's start with you, James.
Thank you. I think, Tommaso, you did okay on my name. I know it's very tricky. I should apologize to everyone as well, because we could have done this panel in Spanish, but as a typical Brit, my language skills wouldn't allow. But yeah, really excited to take part in this panel. As Tommaso said, I think when he introduced it, that it's been an amazing year, obviously, seminal year, another seminal year for blockchain and the industry. And it might not feel like it, and I'm relying on a lot of smart people in this room to help fix my portfolio in the next 12 months. But I think it gets all the headlines in terms of obviously the money flowing into financial markets and the DeFi layer. But we've only scratched the surface with this technology, and I think that until we see everyday value and everyday benefits for people within applications, that we're not going to see the technology really explode. And I think it's a frustration of many people, but a frustration of mine, that we've not seen probably those mass consumer apps take off yet. For ourselves at Chiliz, so I'm the Director of Corporate Affairs at Chiliz. We are a Web3 sports company. What we do is we work with sports entertainment brands, any organizations with fans, essentially, to build direct-to-fan communities. Those fan economies, and they are economies, there's value that can be taken, I think, on both sides. Those have the ability to deliver those direct-to-fan community relationships, as I said, but they also have kind of cultural value and the ability to deliver identity for fans, and that's what we try to do. At Chiliz Group, we kind of have several parts of that, but we are the curators and creators of Chiliz Chain, which is a layer 1 EVM compatible chain that tries to deliver the tools necessary to build those ecosystems for developers, fans, and participants. Within that, we have a number of projects that we've delivered: NFT ticketing for national hockey competitions in leagues in Korea, the NFT authentication for memorabilia. But what we're probably best known for is delivering fan tokens, which are utility tokens, digital assets that some of the largest sports teams, particularly football teams, have issued. We've issued more than 70 of those tokens, which actually makes, for a crypto project, us one of the largest kind of issuers of individual digital assets. And as I say, Jordi will cover it from a Barcelona point of view, but Barcelona are one of those teams that we've issued those digital assets for. And although within the Chiliz chain, there's many use cases of blockchain for sports organization, governance, and DAOs, fan tokens are there more for global clubs as a membership engagement, or even sometimes a monetization level. And we don't shy away from that as long as there's good value exchange on each side. But we'll probably get into what they do, so I'll shut up and pass on to the main attraction, which is the man to my right.
So Jordi, tell us a bit about yourself, but also what you are doing. Maybe cover a bit of everything that Barcelona is doing, because I don't think people are aware that Barcelona is even in the blockchain business at all.
Okay, thank you. It's a pleasure to be here, especially because Chiliz and Plastics, they are amazing partners of the club, so we have this connection. So my name is Jordi Mompart, and I'm the director of a business unit called Barça Vision. I joined the club 4 years ago after the last elections. The club is very nice in this sense. It's a fully democratic club in the sense that we have elections. We have elections also New Year. We have referendums. And in some sense, since its inception 126 years ago, we are a physical DAO. Because we, the members of the club, 150,000 people, we are the owners of the club. And that's something that connects with now what the technology is able to do, especially in relation to blockchain. But then before the elections, I was university professor working on quantum technologies and AI, and I play a similar role in the club. I'm the person that, using emerging technologies and driving this business unit that is called Barça Vision, we are creating digital experiences, digital products, digital services to be commercialized worldwide. And that's the summary, and then we'll go with more things. Right.
Thank you, Jordi. My name's André, Vanyi-Robin. I'm the CEO and founder of Plastics. I am very grateful to be here to represent industry perspective of the use of blockchain in an industry which is called waste management, which hadn't innovated in more than 2 decades. And very grateful also to be partnered with Plastics. Plastics be partnered with Barça. Precisely in the implementation of blockchain for the verification and tokenization of the data that proves that effectively the waste was collected and recycled. And the waste management industry had always been built on 2 revenue sources, one of it being the collection of the waste, and the other one being its separation and selling as a feedstock. So the philosophy of the company is to incentivize transparency by creating a 3rd revenue source in the form of selling the data. And this data in the form of digital certificates, NFTs, technically, which guarantee that a certain amount and a certain type of waste can be collected and recycled. And ultimately, the 3 major reasons why these digital certificates are generated on the blockchain: environmental compliance. Number 2, create new financial instruments called plastic credits so that they can finance additional positive environmental impact. And number 3, create new carbon credits related to plastic removal to incentivize the use of recycled plastic in the manufacturing process. So very grateful to be here to share with you our perspective from this very traditional industry's use of blockchain. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And I'm very interested in connecting these 2 perspectives, Barcelona and Plastics, for instance, because what I want to shed some light on is the fact that there is a demand from enterprises, right? There's lots of Web3 companies in this room, as well as lots of people in policy, but who is demanding this sort of application? So I'm interested, can you explain how you're working with Barcelona specifically? Like, you're working with waste management. Like, how does that work? Like, is it the waste from the stadiums?
So in the case of Barça, Barça is a global brand, and sustainability is a key core value of that brand. And what they wanted to do was to demonstrate their commitment to the environment in specific countries where Barça is active. In our case, started in 2023, the acquisition of plastic credits in Chile, in Kenya, in India, to prove that Barça is effectively having a positive environmental impact and financing those positive environmental actions, buying equipment, hiring waste pickers, providing personal protective equipment, providing medical care, all thanks to Barça. And ultimately, what is that based on? It's based on a digital certificate, an NFT, that was bought by the Barça community, Chiliz, who want to be part of the club's effort in having impact in specific regions. So basically, Barça's use of blockchain from Plastics' point of view is to create verifiable, measurable impact in specific markets, thanks to Barça.
And Jordi, Barça, as you already hinted at, is an institution with values that you're trying to promote. So how do these blockchain initiatives align with, say, the institutional value that you have at an organizational level?
I will connect your question with what André said. It's about community. So is our community, our funds that were supporting plastics recovery, not the club as a company, because we are not a company. The club belongs to the members and also, in some sense, to the funds. And this also connects with Socios.com. It's about the community. It's about the people. They are the main actors of what we are doing. This is an emotional thing that the main actors are the funds. Okay, and then about the values. Let me ask you something. How many European champions has got FC Barcelona in football? Who knows the answer? In football, European champions. Typically, you would say 5, but it's not true. It's 8, because we have a women team. And the women team is amazing. And they won 3 champions the last 5 years. So it's about this. It's not only about football and men. It's about many sports, from international sports like football to local sports like hockey in our case. So we have 5 professional sports, 8 amateur sports. Even in athletics, we have athletes that they have got gold medals in Olympic Games. So in some sense, we are the club that contributes with more athletes to the Olympic Games. But it's also about men and women. And we are super proud of our women team. We have 2 players called Alexia Putellas and Aitana Bonmatí that they have been the last 5 years the Ballon d'Ors. And in connection to blockchain, for instance, what we did 3 years ago is to create our first masterpiece, an NFT that we auctioned in New York, and it was on Johan Cruyff, because Johan Cruyff for us is like God, is amazing. But the second one was for Alexia Putellas, because women are important. And you know perfectly that women, or let's say, sports and technology is too male. And there is a chance to change the things. And we have this responsibility as a club. And sustainability means not only environment, that is super important, but also social sustainability that has to do with gender balance, inclusion, equity, diversity, but also governance, many things. And for instance, in terms of governance, I told you, we are a physical DAO. We hope that someday we will be also a digital DAO, okay? And everything that we do, we try to do it with a purpose and connected with this motto of the club that is more than a club. And then from blockchain, what we love, especially we love, is traceability and ownership that could be provided to the digital assets that we have. For instance, we have an archive with 1 million images and videos. They are super emotional. And thanks to blockchain technologies, they have a different value because it's easy to provide ownership, and then it's also easy to provide traceability of what happens with the digital assets.
And you're getting into something else that I wanted to ask as well, which is why use a blockchain for all of these things? In fact, I think there's 2 sides of the question. I really like the analogy with the physical DAO, right? So obviously there's the recycling level, there's the engagement and community engagement level. Why do we need, well, first, maybe you, James, why do we need a technology, first of all, that is digital? And second, among the digital technologies, where's the value out of the blockchain?
Yeah, I mean, I think and Jordi's obviously started going down this road, that there's value. I mean, I guess I'll answer it from the club perspective and then also the fan perspective. And, you know, I think that football clubs, present company excluded, because, you know, Jordi's a thought leader in this space. But football clubs are quite bad at technology, traditionally. They're very traditional organizations. You forgive me. They're traditional organizations. And football clubs all like to talk about the fact they have 100 million. I think that, you know, we say that...
Can I say a fast comment?
Yeah, of course.
I mean, clubs, we care about hiring players, scoring goals, and winning titles. In this, we try to be good. For the rest, I mean, we have professional companies or professional institutions that they do it much better than us.
So I was going to put you on the spot, but perhaps I'll ask the audience. How many fans do you think, or addressable audience for fans, do you think that Barcelona would say they have? And then you can give the proper answer. Anyone want to guess? 100 million? Anyone? Higher? Higher? I hope you're going to say the answer that I think you're going to say.
I will give you two answers. One thing is, how many fans do we have, for instance, register in channels in social networks? And it's something like 520 million. Obviously, some of them, they are duplicated, and some of them are fake, like in every single channel of social networks. But there is another thing that I love, or I like much more than this, is how many inhabitants of the world, they know our brand. And it's 93% of them. And this happens also with Real Madrid. And this is above Netflix, Coca-Cola, Amazon, Google. Because you go to a small village in the middle of nowhere, and they have a Real Madrid jersey or a Barça jersey. And this means also that we have a responsibility, because they follow us.
They perfectly teed up my point. So clubs have these hundreds of millions of fans or potential fans that are kind of within their global community, but they are not engaging with those fans. Those communities don't have a relationship with the club. A lot of that relationship is actually taken by the social media companies. And where fans might think they're engaging with the club, they're not. They're engaging with a Web2 social media platform. So the attraction for the club within issuing, whether it be an NFT or whether it be a fan token that offers perhaps a more scalable levels of utility and options within that as they're fungible, is that they can build that direct-to-fan relationship. They're the ones that issue it. It obviously represents a new revenue stream, and that is a challenge for clubs, unlocking global revenue streams. You know, clubs, and Barça not included with this, but clubs in general are very good events companies. They're good at running an event for 40, 50, 60, 70, 80,000 people. But they are on a journey to become digital global communities and deliver that engagement. So that's kind of, I guess, from the club side. From the fans, when they're receiving news via social media, when they're watching the action on the television, fans are playing a passive role. What I think, and the fans that we're talking about here aren't the fans that are running the socios for the club, aren't the fans that are a member. It's the kind of either global diaspora or the actual global fan base of these biggest teams like Barcelona, like Man City, like PSG. And that global fandom is something that has obviously continues to grow. But those fans get to play with a fan token, for example. They get to play an active role in that fan community. So we deliver often quite Web2 traditional fan engagement rewards, but one of the rewards or access rights that fans can get through fan tokens is polls on fan-related decisions. So we can use the Barcelona example that for Busquets' last game, the fan token holders got to vote on choosing the design of the armband, the captain's armband that Busquets wore. That's a very fan-centric, and for fans, a very attractive thing to vote on. It's not taking part in the governance, but it's a very fan engagement-related point. And then, as a reward, which you, by participating via fan tokens in polls or in activity on the socios.com app, which is our wallet where fans engage, fans earn rewards, and importantly, they are recognized for participating in that global community, either via polls or via attendance to streaming or whatever. However you want to trace that activity on chain, which is a big attraction for the new generation of fans, that in a Web3 environment, they want to see that what they're doing is being seen, recognized, and rewarded. fans get to use the points that they accumulate by participating on rewards. So that actual armband that Busquets wore for his last game was given away to a fan that had accumulated enough points to get that reward. And also with the rewards, there's VIP experiences. There's limitless amount of things you can do, but that's just kind of an example of the mechanic.
That's very cool that you can have an active role as a fan, especially if you have a global brand, right? And there's people that will never even travel to the city of Barcelona. So you need to unlock a new way of engagement. But also, André, I want to ask you, why a blockchain?
Well, 11-ton trucks, 11 trucks of 1 ton each, so 11 tons of waste is being dumped in the oceans every day, right now, as we speak. It's an existential problem. Where is this waste coming from? Whose waste is it? Is it being picked up? So by having blockchain and enforcing blockchain as a traceability tool is absolutely critical at government environmental level. We are working with the government of India, government of El Salvador, government of Armenia, with United Nations HCR headquarters at refugee camp level to precisely track the waste that's being collected and recycled and tokenize this data, so that fast-moving consumer goods companies such as Danone, who also is a customer of ours and working with us, can prove that they are effectively collecting this waste and that they're recycling it. And this proof has to be on blockchain for 2 basic reasons. Number 1, it's immutability. You don't want the data to be in a centralized database that can be changed. You want it to be there, and you want it to be there forever, irrespective of if the company is going to go bankrupt or not, if the business continues or not. You know that the data is there forever. And secondly, that transparency creates accountability. Accountability to be able to identify the source, the destination of this waste post-consumer, and therefore comply with environmental laws. You have 198 countries in the world, only 63 have European-type extended producer responsibility legislation, and blockchain is being used now more and more as the core digital infrastructure to provide this transparency and immutability. And when Barça says, I'm going to have positive environmental impact in Kenya, they don't want to have beyond a shadow of a doubt that by buying that financial instrument, or the community buying that financial instrument, they know that that plastic was collected and recycled, and they know that that funding is going to go straight towards a positive environmental action. That's the core reason behind blockchain. That cannot be done with a centralized database, with an Excel spreadsheet, or any other form.
And it's interesting also that Jordi, you mentioned an NFT auction. André, you are working with NFTs, but a different application or use case of NFTs, right? It's the traceability. It's a digital twin or mirror of the real world activity.
Correct. It's so we're built on Cardano blockchain, and it's a CIP68 protocol. It's an NFT, but it doesn't have a financial value. It is essentially collecting the data that has been verified by AI platform, which is Plastics, which is when you're collecting the waste, you're separating it, you're selling it, you're shipping it. So invoices are being issued, proof of payments are being verified, logistics documentation, all that are linked to the NFT, invoice number, date, type, quantity, and destination. Those data points are on the NFT. This is not speculative. This is not a collection item. It is a digital recovery certificate that is used for environmental law compliance or for creating financial instruments.
Right. But there is also the NFT as a collectible in addition to that, right? But then the fan tokens, they are fungible, right? Why is that? Is that to create a sense of community?
So obviously with an NFT, you're encasing a set of rights or utility within a unique digital asset. So the attraction for fan tokens is fungible, as in being, I don't need to do a lot of panels, so sometimes I have to explain what that is, but I won't.
Not this time.
Not for this room, I hope. It offers more of a kind of scalable solution. So like if you go to a fairground and you have tokens, one ride can be 5 tokens or 10 tokens to access. Obviously, with fan tokens, you don't spend or redeem them. They're utility tokens, you hold them. So that 5 tokens might give you a level of access to either our environment, which is socios.com, or sometimes to native club environments. 10, 20 fan tokens might give you access to their highlights package on or a special VIP element of the club shop. So it offers a kind of scalable solution that each club can tailor and also update regularly, rather than issue new digital assets each time.
Well, maybe to wrap up the panel, I'm going to ask Jordi to have the last word here. How do you see this market evolving in Europe? Do you see these industries growing? Do you see a need or a problem with regulation? Anything you see in the current perspectives and trends?
I see several, how to say it, similar things regarding with, for instance, AI and data. Europe, and it should be like this, is super important. I mean, should regulate everything, because at the end, I mean, we see it on AI. We also see it with, let's say, with a blockchain. It's super important that there is a regulation, that works for every single individual. Obviously, this makes us to go slower than the rest of the world, okay, but to do less mistakes. And for instance, we as a club, that reputation is so important. We love that the things are regulated. And now what we see, and we are experiencing this hot topic of stable coins, and we think that this is going to be extremely interesting for, let's say, Web2 companies, that they want to, let's say, to start working with tokens, for instance, for crypto payments, in a way that there is no speculation. And we hope that regulation will be supporting these initiatives.
Well, thank you very much for that. What we've tried to do with this panel is bring the perspective of the institutions that are driving the real-world demand for this non-financial application. So thank you for sharing those values, those interests. It's very important that we don't lose sight of what the traditional industry is going to demand. So thank you so much. I really appreciate the opportunity to discuss. Sadly, we ran out of time. But yeah, let's head to the coffee break, I guess.
Thanks, Juan.
Thank you very much.
Good question. You want to do questions?
Any questions? I thought we had run out of time. Sorry. Yeah.
Hello? Hello. Yeah, thanks for the very interesting panel. Sorry I don't want to spoil the party, but having been a professional football player myself and the honor of playing against Barcelona with Borussia Dortmund in '99 during their 100th anniversary, my question is, with so many fans, how do you deal with the fact that, some fans could buy fan tokens that might end up worthless? And how do you deal with the fact that it could potentially risk the reputation of football teams that are already highly indebted, right? Because fans might not know the risks that come with fan tokens, right? So the credibility risk and the risk on the reputation of football clubs could be potentially fairly large. Thank you.
I should probably take that one. So in terms of so fan tokens are listed on many exchanges, secondary markets. So obviously they are open to kind of market dynamics. So being worthless is, I don't think that many, they may go down in value, and given what's happening with the macro environment, many have. But what we see driving the value of the token is either that kind of sentiment around the club. So whether it's sporting results on the pitch, or if the team are about to win a tournament, there's obviously more interest in that. And then also the utility and the rewards around it, if there's a very interesting activation or benefit. So I think there is that secondary market, as they are digital assets and can be bought and sold. So them going worthless, like many assets, it's a supply and demand thing. But I think in terms of, there's a lot that we work with the clubs to do. There's regulations in different markets around, there's white papers issued for each token under the MiCA framework, for example. So there is a lot of disclosure done on what the utility, what the benefits, what the supply, what I guess the kind of consumer information is around those tokens to ensure that fans are empowered when they're making that choice. So it's transparency, I guess, is within the marketing and the go-to-market of those fan tokens.
And I would like to add also the following is that regarding fan tokens, I mean, our partner, we're working with them, is Socios.com since 5 years ago, and that experience is amazing. I mean, because we have been working with them in really a close partnership, and things have gone well. I mean, with new companies, with new products, you never know. But with experienced companies that are here in the market since 7 years ago, it's a different thing.
Any other questions? Well, just to add a final comment to that, I guess the fans are not like a product. The tokens are not a product to go up in price and as an end in itself, right? They're means of engagement. So I guess their value is tied to the continued outreach from the club to the community base. So of course it can become worthless if Barcelona abandons engagement completely. But as long as there's experiences, as long as there's manners to get involved, that's what the community wants, I guess.
Yeah, that's a really good point. And as well as the clubs for each, a lot of the utility for the tokens are obviously tied to the club and what they deliver, but there is also within our ecosystem Web3 games, experiences, dApps that are being built that offer utility to the fan tokens as well. So yes, as long as there is value from that utility, there's value in holding and using that token.
All right, well, thank you so much. Now we are done and we're going to the coffee break. So see you there.
Thank you.
Thank you. Big round of applause for a great panel. Thanks for indeed showcasing to our audience that Web3 is really not all about finance. Muchas gracias.